My name is Kathie Phillips. I'm the curriculum specialist for the Lincoln Community Learning Centers. The Lincoln Community Learning Center, or from now on I'll call it the CLC, it's quicker. It's an initiative that's in its 16th year in Lincoln. We're currently in 25 schools in Lincoln, serving children in kindergarten through 12th grade. That are located, the 25 sites are located in our neighborhoods that have the highest levels of poverty. There we go. To kind of give you a context of where our after school talk is about today is the CLCs are a strategy that brings services through collaborative community partnerships that lead to successful students, engaged families, and strong neighborhoods. Those are our three overarching goals. So the services can cover a broad range of things, including physical and mental health, GED programs, adult education, basic needs access, housing, financial literacy, and before and after school programs. So the school becomes the hub of the community, where services can be accessed to address family needs based on the comfort and the comfort of the neighborhood school. So the neighborhood school becomes the hub. Each site has a school neighborhood advisory group, and that consists of parents and community members, business owners in the area, school people, and they kind of drive, they identify barriers to services for families, and they find ways to address those barriers so that we remove them and access becomes attainable for families. The piece I'm going to focus on today, of course, is the one that is leading to successful students. Our CLC schools have before and after school programs, all K through 12, as well as summer learning opportunities, weeks off camps. When schools are closed for a week, we have things going on in them. And all the sites have a rich variety of club offerings, which are very popular at all sites, but the middle schools pretty much run on clubs. Whereas the elementary programs also have what we call a core program, and those would be programs where the students are there every day after school, and it's taking the child care but ramping it up and having it more of an enrichment opportunity, but it happens every day, and that's usually a fee-based program. And so our schools are open then in these sites till 6 p.m. The students in these schools are typically not the ones that go to the Children's Museum on Saturdays or sign up for pricey opportunities in the community. These are the kids that are that's not their priorities in their families, because their families are more struggling to put food on the table. And yet we know that these kids are curious and they're bright, and we have some scientists waiting, inside some of these kids, that they just have a spark waiting to be ignited. And the way we can ignite that is through opportunities and experiences. So that's what we try to do. So what does after school STEM look like? First of all, you're taking a group of kids who are already tired because they've been in a traditional classroom for 6+ hours a day. So we cannot bring them down and say, okay, we're going to do more of the same. It's got to be completely different. So it's learning with a twist. So here's one example. We have robotics clubs offered through partnerships with community businesses that offer their employees to spend an hour each week teaching students how to program robots. And these businesses, the employees are paid for their time. They are just excused from work for an hour or so each week so they can do this. There we go. It looks like week-long summer camp opportunities at Spring Creek Prairie, which is through the Audubon. and where students spend the week learning about the plants and the animals and the ecology of the prairie. Many of these students, we have tried to focus and engage English language learners and their families as well, to help them acclimate to their new home on the prairie and in this country. And then they always have a culminating family picnic that allows the students to introduce their families to the prairie, to the activities they've done during the week, and they have a meal together. And for some of the parents, that's their real first experience out in this country and on the prairie. We've had kids in this program that have said things like, I've never seen a real frog before. And so, you know, that this is a group of students here from Elliott. And you can see it's a quite diverse group, and they had some wonderful short-term and long-term outcomes from this experience. After school STEM looks like coding academies. We have a number of coding academies for elementary and middle school students, taught by employees from local companies that they excuse their employees for an hour or two a week to come and teach students about coding. The kids are not playing video games. They are writing code. They're solving problems. They're meeting challenges that are provided by these really talented, dedicated business employees who conduct the academies. I was observing one at a middle school this week, and the two people from the businesses, they were walking out there going, whew, yeah, because it's completely different for them. They, you know, most of their time has been spent behind their computers at their desks, and now they're dealing with real little people who can be challenging at times. One of the students, well, he was trying to get the students into the lesson, and every time he said something, this one child, boring, boring. So I thought, no, so the employees are getting some growth out of this as well. Hello, there we go. It looks like makerspace. We have makerspace centers at various sites where the students and staff are learning to create and invent and explore and design in the areas of STEM and the arts. These two little boys here were designing, the challenge was to design a sailboat and that would go the fastest, so they have a fan there at the end. And they spent the entire time at this center working, and when I went up to them to ask them about it, they wanted to demonstrate their sailboats that they had created, and they ended up leaving the sail off and created something completely different, which was amazing. But the little blonde one there, he looked up at me and said, we're going to be engineers when we grow up, and we're going to be partners. And so I knew that we had ignited a spark in that child, and both of the boys. It was just very cute. And they worked tirelessly for an hour on their design. This summer we had 6 makerspace camps going, and each one had a theme. One, World of Construction, World of Visual Art, Capturing the Wind, which this was a part of, Lego Challenge, Mars the Red Planet, and Programmer's Paradise, aka Roving Robots. And the camp leaders, they were supposed to be a week-long camp, but the camp leaders quickly said, this isn't enough time, we want to explore more. And so they kept them for 2 weeks before moving them on to the next site. So students were learning, collaborating with peers, solving problems, and testing theories. We had an event, our staff reported very few behavior issues because the students were so engaged with what was going on at the makerspace centers that they kind of forgot to misbehave. And so, and we had a makerspace opportunity that it was a fair. There we go. Provided by the interns at Spreetail, which is a local e-commerce company. They were fabulous to work with. And the event was attended by 200 students and staff from our summer programs and was truly a once-in-a-lifetime event. And these kids were so engaged, the interns were so excited to be there and interacting with kids, and the things that they came up with to challenge the students were just amazing. Again, in 3 hours of this event, over 200 people were there and not one behavior issue. So, you know, this is engaging to kids. After School STEM looks like a club that spends a quarter using a computer-based online program to study about undersea world. And then their culminating experience for that club was a scuba diving lesson. So the students actually got to go to a campus and they took a scuba diving lesson, which was really exciting. We had earlier when our keynote person, Tiffany, talked about the smelly environment that they had in their greenhouse. It reminded me of one of the sites did a theme on Egypt that was across all curriculums. It had, you know, an art component and science and literacy, but when they did the science, the kids decided they wanted to learn the mummification process, so they mummified a chicken. And that takes a while, and if you're not really, really careful, it's very smelly. So the principal of that middle school finally came down, "What is smelling up my school?" "Oh, it's our mummified chicken." So, but kids were learning. Project-based learning. It looks like a club that provides project-based learning opportunities where students identify real issues and address those issues through research and problem solving in authentic settings. For example, in Lincoln, there's been a contentious battle over banning corrugated cardboard from our landfill. And so one of our middle school sites this summer identified that issue, researched it, brainstormed solutions, and decided to recycle cardboard through repurposing. So they did some neat things. They made some chariots to go down the hillside, the local hillside, and they created cardboard helmets to wear on their chariots. But they did some things like they built birdhouses. So here's where the engineering design process comes in, because when you make birdhouses out of cardboard, they're very cute and everything, but after the second rain, they disintegrate. So once they disintegrated, the students had to redesign, figure out what can we do differently, and how can we make this waterproof and still use the cardboard. So it was very, very interesting. This young man is measuring a feather to see how big, you know, a bird would be, how big their birdhouse would have to be. Let's see, and skip a couple here. Garage science. If it's anything designed by me for our sites, it probably looks homemade. And I call it garage science. So I get a bent on this because I think so often our students feel like you have to have $200 or $2,000 to buy science stuff. But everything I make, like the sailboat thing you saw earlier, that was made in my garage, and with stuff that you would find in your garage. And the boats were, it's Tinker Toys and cloth and boats made out of wood cars that the Cub Scouts use. So, because I want kids to know that you don't have to be wealthy to love and to do science. Science is everywhere. So, garage science. And then my last slide is just achieving the vision. Collaboration is everything. All these things happen because we don't work in silos. We locate the strength in our communities, we access the human and other resources, and we work towards a common goal. We communicate regularly with Lincoln Public Schools officials to make sure that the things we do support and align with the goals and the district standards. Okay, questions? Did I do okay? Was I within my time?
Yeah, you're running a little late anyway, so.
Okay.
We have time for one question before break.
Yes.
So it seems like a lot of your collaborators are basically found through local business. Do they approach you, or do you have an institution in place where you're actively looking for partners within the community?
It's both. We've had some really good partnerships with the university. And usually it's, what comes together is both parties have a need. So like the businesses where we got our coding academies going, Lincoln is desperate for programmers. We don't have enough to fill our positions that are open. So that word was getting around the community. Well, we paired that with, we've got your future programmers. We just need to figure out how to work together. So that's a lot of it, is finding where the needs are in the community and how can we help each other. Thank you.